What's up, guys? We got another episode with you. Today with me is Strongsage. And first of all, I just wanted to mention that maybe it's not gonna be super like long podcast because I want to make it more quality. Plus, you are kind of like newcoming players, so there is like not enough data for me to like continue like speaking all the time. So I think we're gonna give you like few subjects which are really interesting. And if I could ask you like, what is your age at the moment, by the way?
I'm 18.
18. Jesus, that's so young. And how did you? Okay, so for my first question, which is like really important for me, and I really want to know, like how does the guy who is 18 or 17, 16 nowadays, especially, choosing to play Quake instead of like, for example, CS, Valorant,
hmm
Overwatch? Like those games are like much more popular, first of all, and second of all, I think Quake is kind of hard to get into, right?
To be honest, I didn't have that hard of a time getting into it.
No.
Uh, well, I was playing Paladins actually before. Why I started with Team Fortress 2, but eventually I
hmm
played Paladins for a while. And one of the guys I was playing with a lot, he was the one that told me about Quake, since he's slightly older and he really
hmm
enjoys it. So when the game went free to play, I decided to try it out, and I really enjoyed it. I was just doing like team deathmatch for a while.
hmm So you basically started with Quake Champions. You never played any like Quake series before.
No, I hadn't. But yeah, I played Quake Champions.
hmm
I played like team deathmatch for maybe a year,
Yeah.
and some guy in the chat actually, because I won a team deathmatch, or I think I got like second, and the
hmm
winning guy said, "Hey, do you want a duel?"
hmm
And obviously I got destroyed, but I did accept it.
Yeah,
But after that, I kept playing Duel, and I almost exclusively played Duel for a while.
yeah.
Um,
So Duel is your like favorite mode, right? You enjoyed
yeah,
that.
by far, it's my favorite. I don't enjoy the team modes as much. I
hmm
think Duel, having it all be on myself,
Yeah,
um,
this is
I
kind
enjoy
of
that.
exception because like a lot of people who getting like really destroyed in the beginning in Duels, they kind of giving
Mm.
up. So that's why it's like so fascinating for me to see that you as a young guy who got like first Duel destroyed, like kept playing, like improving. Because improving process is kind of long, and I'm gonna jump to that like later. Um, so what did you like about Jules in the beginning? Like what did you how did you catch it? Like what did you like the most, even if you get like wrecked in the beginning?
Well, I never really enjoyed team modes that much.
hmm
So when I realized, I don't know, I'm not sure if I even realized Quake had a dual mode before that,
hmm
but I really enjoyed even though I was getting destroyed, I really enjoyed the solo aspect, and I thought
hmm
that, if I kept playing that, I would get better. So
hmm
I did ranked for a while, and it does put you against weaker opponents. At least when
hmm
I was playing, when the population was a little
Yeah,
bit bigger, I was like low gold, high silver, and it would
yeah.
match with decently matched opponents. So it
hmm
wasn't like I was getting destroyed every game at that point.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you do for a living right now? You are playing for MCS, right? Like organization. And how did you end up with them? How did you came up with the contract with them? It's like
hmm
thanks to Psygib or like.
Uh, I think this happened last year, like late last year.
hmm
I think they saw that I was doing decently in one of the challengers. Like I think
hmm
after I lost to Davis in
hmm
one of the challengers, Force actually came up to me, who's one of the owners of
Okay.
MCS, and he had been told about me by Festive Turtle. I'm not sure if you
hmm
know her.
Yeah.
And she's in MCS. She's told him that I was good, and so they invited me to MCS at that point. And I did really well, like immediately, because they had that
hmm
Dragonborn esports tournament, which I did really well in. So
Ah,
then
yeah, I
they
remember
gave me a
that. I remember that.
contract.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Like the help in the beginning is very important, especially when you are young. So at the moment you are playing Quake, you are playing for MCS, and you also like, are you studying? You should be going still. You just finished high school probably, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm also working part time as a cashier right now. So I
All
do
right.
like gaming in the morning, and then I go to
Mhm.
work.
So you basically finished high school this summer, right? I'm a,
Yeah.
yeah, because you are 18. So then you qualify. That's a perfect line of story. So first of all, you finish the school, then you qualified on Quakecon for the QPL, and then you were able to move after your school. So it's like perfect timing, right?
Yeah, it really is great timing. I mean, it's been perfect everything that's happened so far.
Yeah. So basically, you had to move from like, and this is the most interesting part for me. So you moved from like the west coast of NA to east side of the NA to Boston, right?
I moved from California, yeah, because the ping is so terrible in
Yeah.
California. It was
Yeah.
getting frustrating. Yeah, so I moved to Rhode Island, which is very close to Boston. It's like an
Hmm.
hour drive away.
Hmm.
And I moved with Psygib. He's next door.
Nice.
Yeah, the ping is way better now. And I mainly did it because, I mean, I actually got kind of an advantage in the Quake Pro League being in California because it would give me two servers on NA East
Oh,
and one on EU West. But for practice, like no one in Europe wants to practice against me, obviously, because of the ping. So it's
yeah.
being 80 ping, I think, to EU West from Rhode
Hmm.
Island, and more of them will be willing to practice, which I think is more important.
True. So you moved together with Psygib. This is also quite fascinating. Like, did you ask Psygib to go with you, or he it was your both idea of yours, or like he wanted to go first and then bring you with him, or how does it look like? Because he already played in QPL before, and it didn't seem like
Mhm.
he gonna move anywhere. He stick like to his home and his place. So how did he end up going there? Like he's gonna kind of like because you both still in the same org or Psygip actually?
Yeah, we're both in MCS right
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Well, I was the main one going to move,
Hmm.
and I was looking for a roommate because I don't want to pay for the full rent. I'd rather split it.
Of
And
course.
I mean, Saigib was kind of the perfect person to do it with because we had been together a lot. Like we had went to Las Vegas together like a year ago, and then we
Oh,
were before the Quake Pro
Quakecon.
League
Yeah.
LAN. We went to New Jersey to practice together.
Hmm.
So we know each other pretty well, so it was a kind of a perfect opportunity for both of
Hmm.
us. And I think he is going to try to take it a little bit more seriously for the next Quake Pro League, at least once it starts, not right now.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
and now that he has better, because his internet in California was really crap as well.
yeah,
So
I
now that
remember
he
that.
has better internet, I think he'll be more willing to take it seriously.
I think you are guys in the perfect place. I remember there was one of the Quakecon finals where Rafa and the Hank drove to Boston, or I don't know if there's some like cyber arena there, or if there is like a liquid gaming house. I don't remember that, but I remember they went there and they had like super good conditions to Europe, like being legit like 80 or 70 something even 70 something they had I think on European servers. So that's perfect. Okay, now how your parents react like to that to your moving? Did you live with your parents before, or you were already on your own?
Yeah, I did live with my parents. I mean, they've been very supportive about it. I mean, I
Hmm.
wasn't really going anywhere before this
Yeah.
happened to me. So they've been very supportive. I mean, they obviously they would prefer if I stayed in California with
Hmm.
them, but it's not really feasible, I think, for the next Quick Pro League season if I want to improve.
Hmm.
Just because I don't get the good practice, there's not that many people in North America to practice
Yeah,
with. Um, so they were willing to help me move. I mean,
that's
I'm
good.
I'm gonna be
That's
paying
great.
for
Yeah.
most of it, especially because I work now, but
Hmm.
they will help a little bit.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So you moved there for a year for now, right? You got a rent for a year, probably. You signed the contract
Yeah,
for the year,
yeah,
yeah.
it's for a year.
And like the boot camp with Psygip, how long was that? And you were at the same, no, you were in New Jersey. How long was the boot camp before
Mm.
QuakeCon?
I think I was like 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks. We were
Mhm.
actually in John's house, who is the actual like the owner of
All right.
MCS. So he was very helpful with that.
Not,
We had
not,
we had
not.
like 75
It,
ping
it
there.
wasn't at Zero Force house, right?
No, no.
All right, good. So so since you qualified for QPL, like there is like specific format. So we playing every Saturday or Sunday, don't know yet, right? And then we doing pick and bounce like beforehand, right? What
Yeah.
is your plan going into that? Are you going to try to play every day different player and your picks and his picks? Like how long you want to dedicate the time like for training the picks? How is your approach to like that system, not the tournament system where you don't know your opponent?
Well, I will just play every day, and I mean it's just up to whoever will play with me because
Hmm.
sometimes it's hard to always find consistent practice.
Hmm.
So I'll play whoever's willing to play with me. I'll do it in the morning because I have to work
Hmm.
in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And for the picks and bans champion practice, obviously once I know what the picks will be, I'll practice those champions. But before
Hmm.
that, I kind of just I do we do a draft process before, and I just pick whatever champion either I think is best or
Yeah.
that I want to practice the most with.
All right. Um, are you gonna, yeah, that was my next question. Are you going to try to like main like some other like champion like because you got like kind of good advantage because I think a lot of people can like try to ban scale from you. You could use it to your advantage as well and maybe like really master another like hard to play against squishy or like some another tank like clutch for example. You also playing clutch like really
Yeah,
good like
that's
that's the thing. How did you come up with playing so many tanks? Did you watch too much Razy games or like how did you came up with like mastering them? Do you like to play them or how
well, I
is it?
actually started with Clutch just because I really enjoyed playing him, but also
Mhm.
partly because I realized that no one really played him, and I
Yeah,
thought he was strong, and I still think that he's actually really strong. Just not many people play him,
yeah,
so I got pretty good with Clutch. For Scale Bear, I don't really remember, but it was probably kind of the same. And Scale Bear is not that hard actually to
yeah.
play well. But it's a big advantage, I think, to have those two heavy champions that no, I mean Scale Bear people play, but
Hmm.
especially Clutch, not too many people play and they don't like to
True.
play against him.
Hmm.
For squishies, I do really want to get good with Slash. I can play her right now, just not to the highest level. I think Slash is very strong if played correctly. I mean, we see Razy do it on like Deep Embrace,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's very
crazy.
strong.
That's crazy.
So I've been practicing Slash a lot on Deep Embrace because I see the strength of it. So I want to get good with Slash. I'm already decent at Athena, but I do want to get a little bit better with that.
Hmm.
I think those are the two who I think are really strong. Nyx,
Nice.
I mean, I already play most of the champions pretty well. I actually have the most trouble with some of the medium champions just
All
because I don't
right.
play them very much and I don't think they're that strong.
Yeah, as we speak about Slash, like I don't know if you watch the Spanish tournament, Maxter managed to pull off Slash even on CK, and I think it's
Mhm.
quite kind of good if you don't fit in the beginning. She can like really run through the spawns and catch
Well,
you,
that's funny.
make up a comeback.
I actually beat Maxter with Slash. This was a while ago, but I remember it.
Uh-huh.
I was Slash, he was Anarchy on Corrupted Keep, and I beat him like 17-7 or something.
Jesus.
Yeah, but I think Slash can work on Corrupted Keep. It's definitely more risky than
Hmm.
Deep Embrace. But the reason it is strong is because there's no railgun on the map, so that could
Yeah,
actually help Slash sometimes because it means she could just run away forever, and it's
yeah,
so hard to do anything. Because I mean, you're gonna HMG pepper her; it's not gonna do much. So she has that strength, and if you can aim really well,
yeah.
I mean, with the peeker, not as much on land, but online with the peeker's advantage, Slash benefits a lot from that. You
True.
can come in with LG and do a ton. So I
Hmm.
think that Slash will probably see her a bit more in Corrupted Keep next season, and that's something I do want to play a bit more.
Would be cool. I think there will be some shifts in the meta of pick and bans, and I can't wait to see that. So, as we've been speaking about tanks, like, so for the newcomer or someone who really tries to main tanks, like, what is the one golden rule you would
Mhm.
say to play tank?
I mean, you just have to assume that you're gonna take a ton of damage for every fight,
Yeah.
especially with clutch. But it really is true for every tank.
Hmm.
You have to go in knowing that you're probably gonna take like 100% damage and
Hmm.
just be able to win the fight anyway because you have so much stack. You have a really strong ability,
Yeah.
with scale or clutch.
So basically, every fight you take with a tank is like all in.
Yeah, basically. I mean, you can try to do rail fights, but you should never like just do the rail fight
Hmm.
and think that I'm gonna out aim the opponent.
Yeah, I remember I've been speaking with Hron about Scale Bearer like far in the past, and he said interesting thing that What gives him advantage sometimes in the rail fights is like people seem to kind of tilt a lot when they cannot hit scale, and they're getting impatient. They like rushing their shots. They are like not aiming because they assume they're gonna hit, and sometimes they miss and they're getting angry. This is what he likes about scale.
That's actually true a lot with me when I play against Clutch. For some reason, I actually have terrible accuracy against Clutch
Hmm.
sometimes because I assume it should be so easy, and
Yeah.
then I just try to rush my shots. Scale actually, one of the reasons I think he is such a strong tank is that his hitbox, from in my experience, it actually seems to be one of the harder ones to hit out of all the
Hmm.
tanks. It's more condensed. Like if you look at Sorlag, her hitbox is really, it peaks. It's like sticks out behind cover a lot.
Yeah.
And then Scalebear's movement also, like if you're doing it really well, he can go back and forth really crazy, and it's hard to
Hmm.
hit him. So, and all the tanks, but especially Scale and Clutch, they have that tilt factor that you can take
Yeah.
advantage of.
Exactly. So, how long have you tried to get into QPL? Did you try to get to the QPL as soon as it started in like 2K19, or when did you start like trying to go for challengers, and when was the proper
I
start
wasn't
for
really
you?
thinking about it at the start because I was in like
Hmm.
gold rank. Obviously, I wasn't gonna do it.
Hmm.
I did eventually get to like low diamond, but really I started trying to take it seriously when Diabotical came out, and I moved to
Hmm.
playing Diabotical Duel. But Diabotical Duel wasn't going anywhere, but I did
Hmm.
improve massively. So when I came back to QC, that's when I really started trying
Hmm.
for Quake Pro League. I was like high diamond at
Hmm.
that point, and I spent like the whole year leading up to the next challengers just practicing nonstop.
Hmm. And why do you think the diabotical helped you with Joule? It's like because the diabotical is more kind of like quick life Joule. It's like harder to hit a bit, and it's I think it's more timing heavy sometimes. It's like.
Well, I think the fact that it is more timing heavy
Mhm,
helps because the difference for me between QC duel and diabotical duels, it feels
mhm,
like in diabotical duel, the positioning for fights matters a little bit less.
mhm,
Like for QC, if you have even a slightly wrong position for a fight, you could get destroyed.
mhm,
Diabotical is not quite the same, so it allows you to focus a little bit more on just timing
mhm,
and just like decent positioning overall, not necessarily
mhm,
for the fight. And my one of my problems has always been that my combat skills aren't quite what a lot of the other players are. So the fact that it mattered a little bit less in
mhm.
Diabotical meant that I could play really well
Yeah.
in it. And that did transfer over to QC skill.
Mhm. And what would you like to improve in your like in your aiming skills, in your fighting skills? Like you obviously have like really good rail, right? Do you want
Yeah,
to?
the railgun I rely on a ton
Yeah.
because it is pretty good. I mean, both my Rocket and LG really aren't that strong right now. My LG I've been improving a bit on. I also got a 360 hertz monitor, which helps with that.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, the main thing is positioning in fights. I've been getting better, but it's still not great, and I still have the wrong position a lot of the time.
Mhm.
And my rocket aim, I just need to practice so much more with that, and maybe look at what some of the better players are
Mhm.
where they're positioning their rockets or where they're
Mhm.
shooting them. Because I have really poor like rocket spam damage or just
Mhm.
rocket fights in general. So that's the main thing I need to
Mhm.
improve on. Because if I can do good with rockets, I that
Mhm.
should help me a lot.
Yeah, I think mainly with rockets, it's like understanding how fast it flies, like really feeling it, like feeling it. Because how did you deal with like rockets in Diabotical? It was like it's a different kind of rocket.
I mean,
Like
honestly, it felt easier,
yeah.
but also the LG was really strong in diabolical. It felt easier than QC to hit that, so
Hmm.
I could kind of just do LG and rail there.
Yeah. Okay. So going to QPL, who is like who was your favorite player like in Quake Champions throughout all those like years you played? Like obviously, probably it was Rapha, right, from the beginning, because first of all,
Yeah,
he's like
Rafa
American. Second
is
of all, when you started, he was like winning a lot of things.
yeah, he
So
was winning everything.
yeah.
Yeah, Rafa was a big inspiration.
Hmm.
Also kind of toxic. I mean, he wasn't doing great in QPL, but it was fun to watch him a lot.
Yeah.
Really all the NA players I really enjoyed watching because you know
Hmm.
they're NA. I could relate a little bit more to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say mainly Rafa and I did on the European side. I like to watch Toxic. I did
Hmm.
one of the QPL seasons. I remember that Chain, he was doing incredible out of
Hmm.
nowhere. He got like second place in
Hmm.
NA and almost beat Rafa.
Hmm.
That was pretty inspirational as well. That it showed he put in the time and it really paid off for him that season.
Yeah. Did you prefer the system in the beginning of QPL where you had like three finals, like every 3 months there was a final, or you want one big like league stage leading to the like one big grand final with huge prize money?
Nah, I prefer definitely the three finals. It gives more
Hmm.
opportunities and just more going on in general. I mean, it's great that we have the one final, but
Hmm.
I would prefer if we had more.
Yeah. Going back to Rafa, like how would you describe him as a player, like his play style, like how would you
Mhm.
describe his like strong sides, why he's so good?
I think he's so good because he's very aggressive, but his aggression, it's always in the right position. Like he
Hmm.
knows immediately where to go for each engagement, and he just goes there faster than anyone else. And his aim, like it's actually decent. It's actually pretty good. It's not at the very top of the
Hmm.
players, but it's very consistent. And along with his extremely aggressive play style in correct positions, I mean his aim is enough that he can dominate most maps.
Hmm.
He struggles the most when the opponents are reading that, and they can also get to positions just as fast as him, and then they just try to out aim
Hmm.
him, and that's usually where he tends to struggle.
So who would you say is the best player to beat Rafa? And Rafa has this the hardest
Mhm.
time to play against.
Hardest time. That's kind of tricky. I mean, we did. I didn't Kilson. I think Kilson, obviously, when he's at his best, he probably has the best chance right now because I mean he
Hmm.
did just win. But I do remember in practice that Rafa was beating Kilson. I think we'll see Maxter. He just won the Quakecon. I think he'll get even better in the next season because he always has probably the best aim out of everyone. And then
Hmm.
the better as his positioning skills gets better and better, he becomes harder to beat. And we
Hmm.
saw that in Quakecon.
Hmm. So how did you like Quakecon, the finals in Romania? Like that was your first big LAN, right?
Yeah, that was my well, it's the first LAN I've ever been
Was
to,
it
really.
was it like your first time in Europe?
Yeah, that as well. Well, I've never been outside of the US before
Okay,
that.
so let me reverse the question because that's also interesting. So first time in Europe for you, like living in America, I
Hmm.
don't know what was your impression about Europe, and then flying to Romania. Like, what was your first like thoughts flying to like Eastern European country from like an A?
I mean, I
Were you
thought it was
shocked? You were
crazy.
shocked?
Yeah, I never thought that I would. Honestly, I never thought before this that I'd ever travel outside of the US, but then traveling to Romania of all places was pretty crazy. And I mean, I was kind of scared, but I mean, I knew it would be fun. We were going to
Hmm.
Bucharest, the major city,
Yeah.
and it was really nice when we got there. Like you almost couldn't tell that you weren't in America. I mean, if it wasn't for the language, I mean, it looked very modern, very nice, and the land itself was amazing. I mean, I didn't think it would be as nice as it was, where we each get our
Hmm.
individual booth, and you could just practice
Yeah,
and then get ready for your game.
that was crazy. But let me ask you, did you see the movie Eurotrip?
No,
You need to watch that. It's like about people from America going to Romania actually, and like
okay.
kind of getting crazy about everything. Anyway, it's a cool movie, very old one, so you might not know it. But about QuakeCon, so you had to meet like all the pro players, like, and also play online practice, like do some like practice time, play official matches. Like, what did you gain from that LAN? Like, did you speak a lot of with pros? Did you like get some advices? Like, did you learn something for yourself from LAN, how to set up like chairs, like tables, mouse, like PCs and everything, all the environment?
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot about the setup more than
Mhm.
anything. Zeniku and Rafa, they both told me because I've been having a lot of trouble with my hand
Mhm.
pain, especially on the keyboard side. And they
Mhm.
showed me that one of the main problems was that I was bending my hand to the left a lot with the keyboard.
Mhm.
And so I've fixed that now, and it does help a lot with the hand pain. So that was
Mhm.
very helpful. I also learned that for the sound, it's better to have a external sound card because for each computer, the sound will be different,
Yeah.
and that could really throw you off. For the gameplay side of it, I mean, LAN really shows you how the game is meant to be played, and it
Hmm.
also is pretty incredible how LG for me made the most difference out of everything because normally the peaker's advantage for the LG feels so strong in online play, where if
Hmm.
someone's hitting you first, it's almost harder for you to hit back,
Hmm.
especially if it's from a longer distance. But on LAN, it just works perfectly from
Hmm.
every distance. So it shows you how LG specifically is how the fights with LG are meant to be played, and you can't
Hmm.
rely as much on rushing with the peaker's advantage. That's why a lot of the games on LAN tend to be a bit slower because you can't just rush into people and have an advantage anymore.
Hmm.
So that definitely, I mean, that shows me for online, like what I should be doing more so. Like I can't rely
Hmm.
so much on it, on the peaker's advantage.
Yeah. So, what kind of like external sound card you gonna use? Because sometimes when I'm going to LANs, I'm just taking like this little, even this little thing from the Cloud 2, like
I mean,
headsets,
that works. I
because
mean,
it's gonna give
anything
you the same
works.
sound,
I don't
basically.
think it makes a big difference as long as it's the same and it's what you've been used to, you've been playing with. I'm using this one. I
Hmm.
think I think Wenger was using it. I might be wrong about that. There was
Hmm.
one player using the same one.
Yeah.
It's Sound Blaster X. I mean, it works well. It has software where I can adjust
Hmm.
stuff. Like I turn down the lows and the highs, and it makes the sound a little bit better, I feel. So I'll be using this.
Okay. So I see you still didn't unpack like your suitcase. Like when did you arrive?
Oh, no, that's been unpacked. It's just sitting there. I
All
arrived like
right.
a month ago.
Gotcha. Yeah. What else? I wanted to ask you one more thing. Um, okay, so since you moved to another place, like everything is fresh, setup is fresh, your goal is like to move in somewhere to play. How much more dedicated you are now compared to when you've been at home? Do you think it's gonna like have an impact and you're gonna play more than usually, or like does it
I
feel
think
the
it'd
same?
be about the same because I was already pretty dedicated at home.
Hmm.
It is a lot less frustrating playing now because I don't have to deal with the ping issues. Like
Hmm.
it's so tilting sometimes, even playing on 130 ping, which I was sometimes,
Yeah.
but all the way up to EU Central, which you get a lot in ranked, which is like 160 ping from California. What I got,
Hmm.
it's so frustrating. So it feels so nice now to just not have to worry about it so much because the
Hmm.
80 or 90 ping in QC, it feels fine to me. I mean, I know it for some Europeans it's still not enough, but for me,
Hmm.
like coming from way higher than that, it feels great. So
Yeah.
that means that I probably will have a better time playing and maybe I can take it more seriously. But for the
Hmm.
time dedication, it'll probably be about the same because I was already dedicating most of my day to it.
Hmm. All right, Strongsage. Ah, I forgot one thing. Like, how did you came up with your nickname?
That was a random name generator
Yeah,
on Google. Yeah, it's like a name generator where you get two random words and I just found that and it sounded good.
that's great.
I've been doing that for like every game. I just have a random name, but this one stuck in QC, and I think
Yeah,
it's a good name.
that's great, man. Anyway, as I said, I'm not gonna hold you for too long. I'm glad to have you because I think like before QPL starts, people have a chance to see like newcomers and like new pro in the QPL. And let's hope you're gonna enjoy and stay in QPL forever. And there is anything you want to say to the viewers, to your sponsors, maybe to someone else,
Mhm.
just like the for the end.
Well, I really appreciate all the positive words I've been getting. I mean, the Quake community is very supportive to newer
Hmm.
players, so I appreciate that. And for anyone trying to get better, it's just mainly about playing as much as you can and
Hmm.
trying not to worry so much about getting destroyed. Because when I'm getting better, even when I wasn't that good, I was trying to play against much higher ranked players, and you'll
Hmm.
get destroyed a lot, but it's always good practice. They're kind of showing you how you should be playing. So just stick to it and try to ride through the lows. I mean, I still have lows sometimes where I get destroyed by a lot of the better players, but it's just
Hmm.
something you have to deal with.
Yeah, that's very wise words, especially nowadays, since kids are really impatient and they cannot hold it and they cannot go through the process. Like nowadays, we're living in times when where everything comes really easy, you know? Like back in the days,
Hmm.
even if you wanted to meet with your friend, you didn't really have a phone and you had to walk to his house and try to get him out. So now people getting used to like have things like straight away and they don't want to work hard. Anyway, thank you for your time and I appreciate you coming to my podcast and good
Yeah,
luck.
thank you. This was a good podcast, and I'm happy that I get to speak to a lot of people through it. So thank you
Yeah,
for the opportunity.
thanks, man.